everyone. Hi. How's everyone doing today? Welcome. We are back today with our special guest, J.Gallagher from yesterday. Thank you so much to everyone
Hi,
who
everybody.
watched yesterday. Hi. So we're going to be continuing with our Mackenzie Shirilla rabbit hole, as it's become termed since you called in, J.Gallagher. I have not seen the interview with Mackenzie Shirilla's dad, but I've heard enough about it where I was like, that's what we're going to watch. So I don't know. Have you seen it? Has everyone in chat seen it? Is this going to be
I haven't.
our first time?
I've not seen
You
it.
haven't?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard things. I've heard that it's a pretty interesting one, that there's some wow moments in there. So we're definitely going to get into that. There's also a couple other videos to look at. Yeah. And we've got our Megan Kelly, Nancy Grace. We're going to get into everything today. Let's say hi. How is everyone? I went to the top comment. Oh, there we go. Hey, Kip Kitty. And CJ is here. He's here in chat, producing. I hope you feel better soon. All right. Yeah, so who's seen it? You watched about half of it? Really? Okay, so what did you think, Patty? Let us know. And also, let us know if you've seen The Crash. We're interested to know who's actually watched the documentary. And let's get started. I have a couple of things that we're going to go through today, and we're just going to stop along the way. And if there's anything that you want to say through the videos, just stop me as well. And we're definitely going to discuss a lot. Okay, let's get to the first video. Sorry, guys, I'm moving a little slowly there.
So many high.
Okay, so sorry about that blank moment. This is the first video that we were talking about, and we were talking about it a little bit before the show because I didn't know this, but apparently Mackenzie Shirilla wants to be a life coach, which let me not judge it just yet. Let's hear what she has to say. Let's hear about these career aspirations quickly.
What'd you say? All the things you have been experiencing. It's so much. So many highs and lows and ups and downs. A pillar of strength, my love.
Yes, like, man, I would come home and just like, oh, you know.
Pillar of strength. You're going to be able to help so many more people than you already were. You know what I mean? Just because of your experiences.
I'm gonna be a life coach and stuff, and like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna be everything. I'm gonna do everything. I like.
Thank you
I'm gonna
for
do
using.
I'm like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. A life coach? I'm not sure about that.
Who was she already helping?
Yeah, that's interesting as well, because I mean that's from her perspective, and I think that she kind of sees herself. Yeah,
life
exactly.
coach.
That was my reaction as well.
I want my money back. Sorry.
Can you imagine? Well, look, I guess if she were interested in something like that for the right reasons, which I mean, I guess that is.
You got to be remorseful first.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, I think that is much more of a publicity stunt than anything, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I have
She
another
can start a
really
driving
quick video.
school.
So, you know, I was like
That's
thinking
all.
that, and I did not ever want to say it. And I was like, so long as she's not a driving coach. But now that somebody else has said it, then it's fine. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'm going to go through this. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues. My StreamYard is freezing up on me. All right. We're going to listen to this. Mackenzie Shirilla private phone calls leaked. And then from there, we are finally going to get into the interview with the dad. I'm looking forward to it.
So Mackenzie Shirilla, who is profiled in Netflix's The Crash, which is an enormously successful documentary. This is the woman, I would almost say girl, who killed her boyfriend and their good friend by crashing into a wall at 100 miles an hour. She was found guilty of murder. She is serving time. We have now obtained some conduct reports from the prison. And we're going to talk about some sexual misconduct allegations. But first, some interesting phone calls between Mackenzie and her mom.
Were you ever able to respond? What?
Was I able to respond to who?
That guy, your pen pal?
No, I never replied to Steven. I
No,
replied
not
to,
him.
oh yeah, I replied to Kevin Zimmerman. I love
Okay,
him.
cool.
I don't know who that is, but I love him. I don't know how old he is. I don't even really care that much. I just love him. Like, he's so
Yeah.
fun to talk to.
A good conversationalist, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, I like to message him back.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam is fun to message too.
Right.
Who else do I like to message?
Well, Phil's fun to talk to.
Who?
Phil.
Oh, Phil? Okay, yes. It's all boys. That's so bad.
So, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, when you listen to this, you would have no idea she's in prison because, you know, she's talking about these boys or men that she's fallen in love with, people who are contacting her. By the way,
I mean, I just want to point out there that not only would you have no idea that she's talking from prison, but you'd have no idea that she's talking to her mother. Like, would you guess that that's her talking to her mother? That's
No, and I almost get secondhand embarrassment. Just the mom sounds like a 16-year-old girl. It's sad.
Yeah. Like she's trying to be friends with her. It is really sad.
Yeah.
this is the most unsurprising thing ever, that she has developed almost a fan base. And not just because of the crash. This was a case that was pretty high profile when it was actually being tried, but the crash has brought it to a whole new level. And if you just look at people like Luigi Mangione, who gets thousands of letters from suitors, it is unsurprising that people are doing the same thing with Mackenzie. Now, there are other allegations that are made in the various records that we obtained from the prison, which include sexual misconduct.
Yeah, so we basically got a bunch of records of conduct reports, and there's a bunch of rule violations that Mackenzie has violated over her time behind bars. And that's very interesting because—
Well, one of them, we should just say, is she allegedly was showing her breast to somebody in a video call.
Correct. Which they say is a visitor, but it sounds like this is a video call because they said
a video call.
She came into frame nude is what the report says, and that right before that she had some explicit material, I think you could word it, coming out of her pants, and then, you know, things escalated.
There were also—
Wait, what? I'm not even sure if, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know about, I didn't know about any of this, but I mean, I suppose it just comes down to some fraction of remorse. Like, where is it?
Drugs where she was not prescribed certain things but had prescriptions. So there are rule violations. By the way, these matter because you can go back a year or so ago to the Menendez case where Eric and Lyle Menendez were up for parole, and the parole board, and I think honestly this was a very shady parole hearing, it's my opinion, where they were going to these pretty minor infractions, like, you know, having a cell phone, which a lot of people have, and usually they get cell phones from the prison guards. But that seemed to be one of the main reasons why they denied them parole. And those were things that had happened years before. So what she's doing now, she's going to be up for parole in 15 years. That could cost her.
They're going to be looking. They're going to be looking at her time behind bars. Is she a model citizen? Has she tried to better herself? What has she been doing? You know, how has she been acting? And I mean, from this list of things that she's been doing, it just doesn't sound. It sounds like she's misbehaving.
And you know, the other thing that's going on is that the family of her boyfriend have been. You know, we had his sister on yesterday, and they're just really angry that she might even be profiting off of the crime. But they also were really railing that she has not really expressed any remorse and didn't do so even immediately after the crime and after her boyfriend was killed. Her father went on a true crime podcast and he said something different.
Watching her watch every video, every song, every picture about that boy. There was a shrine to him in my room, a shrine. Cried herself to sleep every night. I know the trolls are going, God, she should cry herself to sleep. She has remorse. She was 17. She's a dumb kid. She wasn't breaking up. She didn't do it on purpose. And I've asked her, did you do this on purpose? And she's going, no. And I would think if my daughter was that mad at that boy to want to kill him that way, Davian would have never been in the car.
Right.
Oh, okay. So I see. And we're gonna get into that, but I don't even know how to begin to unpack what he said just in that tiny clip. A lot of what's in this video is shocking to me, and I saw CJ said here, yes, wait till you hear the calls. So I mean, I guess it's gonna get worse than this. Wow.
That makes no sense. If she was going to do that to Dom, there were guns all over that kid's house. If she was going to kill him, that would make more sense to me.
You know, the odd thing is, he said, my daughter absolutely did not mean to kill him. But Mackenzie, the daughter, says in the Netflix documentary that when she turned the corner before she accelerated, at that point, she just can't remember anything. So the mystery is what was in Mackenzie's head, because she's saying, I don't know what was in my head when I actually accelerated, because.
That's a really good point. Like, you can't remember what you meant to do. So if you can't remember, then you can't say what you did or didn't mean, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I don't remember anything. So the judge was convinced that there was an intent to kill, but that is the big mystery, which I think makes this Netflix documentary so interesting.
Hi, I'm Demi in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And what stood out to me the most was how excited she was about getting all this attention from other men. Like, where are your priorities? Where's the remorse? You know, like, things are just like not adding up. With the gravity of everything going on, there's so many other things to worry about versus getting attention and like pen pals in jail. I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, look, she's in prison and she's going to be in prison for at least 15 years. And at a point, you kind of adapt. And I know it sounds crazy because you're on the outside, but if you're on the inside and this becomes your day-to-day life, you try to establish kind of a world around you. So I don't know. I don't find it that surprising.
Wow. What an interview.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, that was a lot. I don't think I even know like where to begin with that, but okay, so the in-prison conduct, like, I'm pretty surprised, because if you're somebody who are like wanting to file these appeals, surely you're going to adjust your behavior accordingly. Or does it not occur to her, like, she thinks that somebody is going to just come and fix this for her?
Yeah. Why does she need to behave? She didn't do anything wrong in her mind.
Yeah.
But, you know, in high school, apparently she had these same behavior issues and she was always in trouble. And this came from friends, classmates, and her mom even said she had a big problem with getting into fisticuffs with teachers. And to me, that means like physical fistfights with teachers when you say fisticuffs.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised about her behavior. She has a long history of behaving this way.
Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised. Like, I would think that even if that's something that you do, once you're caught and you're wanting an appeal and you're wanting something like, you know, the possibility of parole, I imagine that you at least try and behave in a certain way, even if you don't mean it. Like it's not something you actually want to be doing. And yeah, CJ says in chat, that is physical. Well, look, I keep saying I'm surprised, but I suppose we shouldn't be. Caddy says, for me personally, I have not been following that closely, but from what I've seen so far, I guess nothing should be a surprise. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about this case, and I just heard like the outline of the story, and I thought to myself, it must have been a mistake or recklessness. And to get into it and to start seeing, like, it's clearly not a mistake, and it's like one surprise after the next, I guess.
Yeah, she's not just some teenage girl that got into a fatal, unfortunate accident. You see an escalating pattern of behavior just right before. Like there was really something going on with her in her head.
Yeah, I would say so. And a lot of people have highlighted. Thank you. A lot of people have highlighted the parents, and that keeps coming up a lot because I think it's so important. And I think that's the main reason why I'm so excited to see this interview with the dad, because I mean, for the most part, we've seen a lot of the mom. I have, at least, and it kind of makes a lot of sense, the parenting that everybody's talking about and or the lack thereof. So I'm interested to see what he's like as well. And I guess it's like a combination of, you know, the nature and nurture, but this is the nurture side of it, and they didn't do her any favors. They really didn't. Yeah. Entitled and enabled, and that's not a healthy combination. All right, let's watch this.
Early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, 17-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla was driving a car through Strongsville, Ohio. This was around 5:30 in the morning. And in the car with her was Dominic Russo, her boyfriend, and their friend Davion Flanagan. Now, what happened next with the accident and Mackenzie being charged with their murder is the subject of a new Netflix documentary called The Crash. Maybe you've had time to watch it and form your own opinion as to what you think happened in the car that night. I have my own thoughts on this, and when the documentary was being produced, I heard from Mackenzie's parents, and never had the opportunity to sit down with them. But Steve, Mackenzie's father, reached out to me last week and asked if I'd be interested in an interview. And of course, I want to hear what he has to say. So I sat down with him yesterday, and we spoke for about an hour. And I want to share that interview with you today. I did learn some new things. There's some new facts about the case that I didn't know that certainly causes me to not really change my opinion, but it does change the way I see the accident itself. So without saying more, here is the interview with Kenzie Shirilla's father, Steve.
Steve, my first question is, what is it like to be a part of the biggest documentary on Netflix?
Wow, it's mixed. I was hoping during this process we would get Mackenzie's story out, or what happened to Mackenzie and not necessarily what everybody's heard or what everybody keeps gleaming off of misinformation. And I want to say I was promised that it would be fair, but that's what my allusion to what was going on. I thought they came to us thinking that my daughter is a monster and that she did this and she's hell on wheels and she picked that road and blah, 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 what the judge said. But I think after they started talking to us, I think we opened their eyes to, well, maybe there's something funny going on here. And that's where I thought it was. And then when it came out, a lot of the stuff we talked about just wasn't there. There wasn't a lot about the fact that there's no evidence of premeditation, prior calculation or intent. It's not there. And every troll online can tell me, oh yeah, she did it, all this, and she was speeding down that road and she didn't hit her brakes. Well, she didn't hit her brakes for 4.74 seconds of that ride. That's the only information they have. That's when the black box turned on, about 5 or 6 seconds before she crossed Alameda Road, before it went into the building. Something happened in that car that caused that black box to turn on, which was, I think the car, from our car expert that we talked to, said that the car thought it was flipping over. So the black box turned on and started recording the car information in a non-linear sort of way. And that's important, that non-linear sort of way. And it deployed both side airbags. And I'm sorry, side airbags don't just go pillow fight. It's not a soft explosion. It's a boom. And then there's powder all over there's powder floating in the car, in the cabin of the car.
Are you saying the airbags deployed before the accident?
Both side airbags deployed prior to her car crossing the street to hit the sign to get veered into the building.
That seems like a pretty big piece of information that we didn't get.
Yeah, I wonder why the prosecution didn't want to use it.
Yeah.
They had it. They got the black box information. The black box is a nonlinear function. It's like an airport, airplane black box, but it doesn't record sound and what's going on in the cabin. It records mechanical aspects of the car, braking, accelerating, blah, blah, that kind of stuff. So the only actual evidence, hard knock on wood evidence, is from 4.74 seconds of that black box.
Yeah.
That's not talking what happened prior, all the way to when she turned. That's another what?
So everything we saw in that video of her speeding at the
that last moment, that's after the black box turned on
and after the airbags deployed.
Mm-hmm.
So it could just be 3 kids in the car freaking out because
Sasquatch could have popped in the car and anything.
I mean, it would be hard to drive.
Yeah, well, our car expert said, he said nobody anybody in that car would be disoriented because of the 2 explosions and the powder floating around. You wouldn't be able to see. So I can't explain the speed. Oh, sorry. I can't explain the speed, but that road is a cut through in Strongsville, and the police know it.
Yeah.
Everybody uses it. I've been down that road at a pretty good clip at times. Not saying it's right. I'm not saying not at all.
It's a shortcut.
It's a shortcut for where she goes. And plus, Dom did not like going down Pearl Road. He liked the.
Why didn't he like going down Pearl Road?
I just want to stop it there. I think the bottom line of what he's saying is he can't explain the speed, and that's part of the problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a problem with the airbags. I heard her mother in another interview say the same thing, that the side airbags were deployed before the crash. And she says in the interview, the video that shows her making that controlled turn shortly before, she says in that clip, you can see the airbags. And I've gone through it. I've looked it over and over, and I don't see them at all. And the investigators even said that there was no malfunction. There was no early deployment of the airbags. So I don't understand why they're making this claim all of a sudden.
Yeah, that is strange. And I mean, I suppose I'm assuming that they supplied this information to Netflix, and Netflix made the decision not to use it. I mean, they did include some things that were favorable to her, so I'm wondering if it's just because of, you know, how confusing it is for us. Like maybe there is something not quite right with that information. I mean, people are saying here that they didn't see it. I just want to go back and chat a little bit. Where CJ said 5 seconds at that speed is quite a distance. And that's also something that I wanted to say at the time. I mean, clearly she's been found guilty, and clearly if she did have the intent to do what she did, then that 5 seconds, it was enough for what she was trying to do, which is incredibly serious. So, and also, yeah, you heard him right, he said pillow fight in this context. Yeah, I think the defense didn't use it for a reason.
I don't think it exists.
No. Why I didn't stop? Yeah, exactly. She would have stopped the car. I agree with that.
He
My airbags.
He sold drugs, or at least my understanding is he sold marijuana at this time. And
Sorry about that.
No, I'm sorry. I forget there's a delay.
It's okay. It's okay. We're finding our feet.
if he got pulled over and he had marijuana on him, he would go to jail.
There's lots of police.
And there's a lot of police, and they sit in the shops all the way up Pearl, and they don't really sit back in that Industrial Parkway. Like I said, it's a cut through. It's a quick cut through, and he always made her go down through that way. Even on her prom, her mom, Christine Russo and Dom made her go down that road. She's even, and I wish my cousin passed away a couple of months ago, and he could have attested because he was in the car with us. But but my understanding is we go down that road all the time, and even in the bindover or not the bindover discovery, there's a note in it that says we know it's a known cut through. So the police know it, and they even state it's a known cut through. So for the judge to go, you chose that road and blah blah blah, it doesn't make any sense because the police, the detective, because he said it, knows it's a cut through. I mean, it's crazy. And they knew, and the drugs. So Dom would have Mackenzie hold the drugs.
How do you know that?
Yeah, so just by everything that he's saying, it does sound like they are getting into quite a victim blaming mode, just like you're picking up there, CJ. And I also want to point out that when I saw an interview, it wasn't the one that we watched yesterday with his sister, but she said explicitly that was not a shortcut. It was not, like, she's refuting that claim. So they are victim blaming. They're trying to disparage him, I would say.
Oh yeah.
How do you know Don was into that?
Because my daughter told me. Yeah. He told me that he sells marijuana, and friends buy it from him, and I know a lot of. Yeah. I know. It's just something that I know.
There's a lot of his background that didn't come out in Netflix either. I know he has.
Well, I think they're.
Been in trouble with a lot.
Yes, and that's the reason why he would have me carry mule for him, carry his drugs. So if they got pulled over, she got in trouble for him, but it would be just a slap on the wrist, basically.
He had a prior charge for assault as well.
I heard something about that. I don't know the full story on it. I think it was some kind of family thing that went on, but I don't.
Any idea why that didn't come out in the Netflix stuff?
I don't know. I don't know why the Netflix people picked what they picked, why they edited it the way they edited. I'm not real happy with the way they edited some of the stuff, and some of the stuff they picked for me to say. I said what I said in it, and I meant every word that I said. I wasn't trying to hide anything. I was trying to be as honest as I could, but it seemed to be more about me and not about what was happening to my daughter. And so, like I said, I'm not real happy with how this outcome. But if it wins an Oscar, I guess I get an Oscar. I'm part of an Oscar. So
there are a couple questions that came up since the documentary came out. I think it could have been worse. I watched it over the weekend. But there were a couple questions that had come up. One was there was. Can you tell us? Such a stupid little thing. Your shirt. Can you?
I'm sorry. I have to stop. She can teach anger management when she gets out. Yeah, coming back to the life coach thing, I mean, it is that level of ridiculous. That just caught my eye where I couldn't not. Anger management is a good one. It is. But
Wow.
wow, this dad. I understand where she gets a lot of her issues from, both parents.
I mean, let
Not
me
a
ask again.
fan.
Again, is this okay? I don't want to trigger anybody in this world that I'm wearing an orange polo. I hope it's not colorblind enough for anybody. The shirt I was wearing is from Drip Drop, which is Crime Circus on YouTube. Crime Circus has been a defender for my daughter. He's made many posts saying she's innocent, and he shows the evidence, and he contradicts people who say, no, she's guilty, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, no, you have to look at this and this. He was about a month after her trial. One of his posts showed up with us. Someone sent it to us, and he had found 5 or 6 videos, interviews from the Strongsville Police Department that were not in the discovery, or were not in the discovery that we could find. And we went over everything, and we had access to everything during the bind over in the trial. They were 5 interviews with Christine Russo, Dom's brother, two of Dom's kind of friends, the Flanagans, and Hench. I think it's Hench, because he gets things done. Christopher Martin, the felon that lives in Christine Russo's basement, and he's the one that gave the information or the intent to Mackenzie in her trial. He's the one that stated something that didn't happen, and we've got proof that Mackenzie did not threaten to crash that car that day. But these 5 videos weren't in the discovery, and in all the videos, everyone is interested that Mackenzie has a problem passing out or seizes. There was an issue, and they just blew over it. And at some point, during Christine Russo's or the brother's interview, because Christine and the brother were there, and every time the detective asked the brother something, he starts to answer, which seems to be truthful. And then Christine Russo talks over him and answers it for him, and he goes, oh, yeah. So.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so that was also a lot. I didn't know about that particular creator having any kind of involvement, but that is very interesting to know. Yeah. Look, it just highlights that what some people will actually do just to, I suppose, make content.
At some point, Christine Russo says, no one's going to see these, right? And the detective goes, no, I'm not putting them in.
Wow.
So again, that's omittance, and
yeah.
That seems kind of shady to me.
Well, if there were witnesses that could back up the claim that Kenzie occasionally passed out or had these seizures, that's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think so. I would think the detective should, have an obligation to look into it. But my understanding is when he got her medical records, he picked up her medical records from the day of the crash forward. He did nothing about going from the day of the crash back. That's true or false.
Yeah.
But that's my understanding.
People try to.
Sorry. The shirt.
Yeah.
The shirt is Crime Circus's logo, or one of his swag that he sells.
Boom.
The boom is one of his things. So I wore the shirt to say thank you.
Rosee must have dropped out for some reason. Not sure. Sorry about that. So, when the doc first dropped on Netflix, I saw the Boom shirt, automatically recognized it as one of, the particular person that they're talking about. And so when I saw that he was he actually promoted himself having a conversation with the dad, and then also how he was going to be leading a movement to free Mackenzie Shirilla from prison. And so I wasn't too shocked about it. I don't know. ethics, I suppose. So I wasn't surprised that there wasn't any ethics involved into that either. But it just kind of shows you, like, um, it doesn't take long to see how this family truly is, their souls, what kind of people they are, and how they treat another human being. There's no empathy involved in their DNA. And so with each interview that they do, it doesn't help at all. I think if anything, it just makes everything even worse with the stuff that they're saying. And you kind of understand why she is the way that why Mackenzie is the way that she is.
Yeah.
So
If you noticed in that interview, I hear her dad say a lot of "they made me say this" about the Netflix. He can't even take accountability for his own participation in that.
Yeah,
It
and
was
they were the
everyone
major
else's
ones.
fault. We know well, so it's their fault.
Yeah, and they were the major ones in the, to me, because they didn't have any of, like, it was basically to me it seemed like it was a doc for the Shirillas. You didn't really have people on Dom or Davian's side except for a couple little clips of the parents and stuff like that. It wasn't even the friends, like how the friends were sticking up for Mackenzie, like there's no way, and it all just seemed to be pointed towards a pro Mackenzie film. And so for him to say, like, they made him do this and that, I don't see that. I don't see that at all, because I think they would have been like, no, you can just, they don't know the story. They don't know the behind. So really, they would be on the side of just tell us everything that you feel and know, and they'll just edit it, And of course, they could edit it a certain way to make it more pizzazz, but really, you can't blame somebody for, it's him saying the words, it's him with his body actions, his like, it's them. So how can they really say, like, they made me do it, when they're really at the mercy of the family and Mackenzie? Because if they don't, with how much control they display over everything, I could see them. I'm sure there's a couple things where, like, if you don't do this, we're not finishing it. Okay. I don't see it being the way that he presented it. And here, I'll remove myself. And is everything all good? Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm trying to screen share again, and it's getting a bit. Okay.
Do you want me to screen share for you, and you can just tell me when you want me to stop? Or
you might have to. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on here.
And it says Caddy sent turn it up. I'm not so what is that stuff? I've seen somebody drop like jewels and things like that. I've never seen that on YouTube before. What is? They just showed up one day. Huh. Weird. Yeah, if you're having problems, I can screen share it if you want me to. Yeah, give me a second. Do you remember where you were at in that? Because it won't show me.
Yeah, I was at 12:58.
Okay. Let me get back to that. And then if you want me to pause, just just say, okay, I'd like to pause, and I'll make sure I pause it. Okay.
All right.
I
Sorry,
appreciate
babe.
you guys. Thank you all for being here. I'm sorry I'm not feeling good, but I am producing the show from the background. We'll get it all worked out here. Thank you.
All right, everyone. I'm back. I think everything's okay. Sorry.
And the fact that however anybody wants to spin it, he
All right, just give me 1 second because StreamYard messed up. I have to re-add everything. So just give me one moment. I'm going to flip through all these different screens and then we'll continue. I apologize.
Sorry, everyone.
went everywhere with our family. He was at Easter, Christmas. He was part of our vacations. He was part of our family. You know, I'm sorry the Russos lost a son, or a brother, or a cousin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry the Flanagans lost Davion. There's nothing I can say.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do.
Of course not.
To ever change that. I was at the gravesite with Christine and them countless days. I talked to the dad. You know, the dad was in my house, telling Mackenzie he believes her, that, you know, blah blah. They thought it was an accident. It's okay, and they did this little pendulum thing, and then after the bind over, it stopped. You know, I don't get it. You know, none of the evidence changed. The black box information was the black box information.
The prosecutors gave them a place to focus their anger.
Well, their story. It was his narrative, and even in one of those drip drop or one of those release videos, the detective saying, "Well, I'm just doing what Troop wants, what Tim wants." You know, I'm just, you know. So we believe this detective on day 3 or 4 already assumed the worst. You know, and so that's what the that's what the shirt was. The shirt was a thank you to Crime Circus. Wasn't a me being colorblind or insensitive to anybody, because that's the most idiotic. Because oh my God, why would I do that? That's got to be the dumbest take on a shirt, you know. And again, everyone, it's orange. I'm sorry if it's offensive. I apologize now.
I just assumed. I mean, it's a graphic T-shirt. And I know you come from an art background, graphic design.
Yep, graphic design. Yep.
And then you
This
were
just
teaching
sounds
art,
like excuses.
right?
Yes.
Now,
I mean,
what's happened since the documentary came out?
Well, apparently, the diocese had a problem with something I said in there, along with.
Did people contact them?
Yes, that's my understanding. There was a website out of Parma, Parma something, and I guess they just called in and made all kind of stupid, baseless accusations. And then the diocese has an obligation to protect the kids, which I understand. But the problem I have with the diocese doing how they did it is they didn't talk to me. They just acted. When I just, here it is, boom.
So you were teaching for like a Catholic school.
A Catholic school, yes.
Yeah. They're saying that you know, because of the drugs or something.
Something. I mean, in the documentary, we were talking about her.
Didn't have a problem with her.
I didn't. As you know, as a parent, I pick my battles. You know, I'm sorry if I find marijuana not that dangerous as I find alcohol or cocaine or whatever. You know, my daughter, beyond what everybody else seems to think or wants to interpret or glean, she seemed mature enough to handle it. I didn't see a issue. It wasn't causing her to be late for this or not do this or get in an accident. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't anything that was And I had other battles I wanted to fight with her, and I taught her right along. I said, look, you can't be driving with it, blah blah blah. Watch with, you can't. You be careful with Dominic. If you get caught, he gets caught, you get caught. All I can do is teach her and try to make her learn. She's a lot like me. When I was little, I needed to do it. Experience.
Yeah, I don't know what you think. I don't know if you're getting the same impression as me here, but it sounds to me like he's doing a lot of what she does, in the sense that he's just trying to like get ahead of being called a bad parent. And he's trying to defend himself for questions that haven't even been asked yet, it's really concerning, because I don't think that he's showing much regard for the law, just what he thinks is okay, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I got the same feeling. It's not a big deal to him that her is a minor, first of all. Being involved in that scene, doing those things, I mean, he's got to consider that's not a safe environment for a lot of teenage girls to be in. A lot of bad things happen when those substances are around. And I feel like he's almost encouraging it, that it's okay because I don't have a problem with it, then you can go out and do it. And there's a lot of text messages out there between him and her where they're actually participating in it together when she was only 15. And I have a problem with that as a father figure. I think he's set her up for who she is and the trouble she got into.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me to hear that, like, to partake with her while she's 15. I mean, he's saying things like he thought she was mature enough and he wasn't seeing any signs of it causing a problem. And I mean, obviously I've not...
What 15-year-old is mature enough?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know them. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that at all, that it was not causing some kind of a problem, like, for her. I think just based on who we can tell she was, I think that the lack of structure around her from them was just never going to be okay.
No.
Yeah. And I agree with this comment.
They did.
They don't have a problem with it because they know what they'll get from her, and that's like they probably do a lot and let her do a lot just so that they can have some peace and quiet. She is that kind of willful person. I'm being serious, like, really, like, yeah, just calm down. I'm sure.
Experience it to learn it, and don't touch the stove. Steve, don't touch the stove, and I go touch the stove, and I got burned. It's who she is. She has to learn for herself and make her own choices, and that's what I was doing. And she was getting older, and her and Dom were making a life together. Now, was I greatly happy with the relationship? No. This toxic has been thrown around a lot. I didn't see the toxic relationship that everybody's saying, oh, it's toxic. This is a toxic relationship. They argued. I argue with my wife. Everybody argues, okay? From what I knew,
it was more than that.
It wasn't toxic. They argued. They broke up. He's over the next day with flowers and candy and a stuffed animal. I mean, it was like every couple of months something would happen, and my wife was helping them try to fix their relationship, and they were never, ever breaking up. And anybody who says that is lying. And I don't care if it's hurtful. They were not breaking up.
There's literally messages where he was like, we need to break up. Like,
Yeah.
We've seen them. I don't understand what he thinks he can accomplish here. Yeah.
No, he knew about the fighting. He knew about it with Mackenzie. He had to have. She was acting like that in his own house towards him even. Like, how could you not know that there was a serious issue going on elsewhere with other people?
Yeah, it's a concern that they can just pick and choose what they think is true, what they think goes on according to them. So
Yeah.
it says, I'd like to think, I don't want you to, okay, Kenzie, you know I love you, but I don't think we should be together at this point. There isn't very much time on Earth. That is so sad because there wasn't, because of her.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Right,
They were so young.
I know. We should just break up so we can both find happiness somewhere else.
Mm.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
Break up, but they were getting right back together. I was on my daughter all the time. I punished her all the time. Okay, it's not me going, okay, just go, hey, go have a whole time, go smoke dope, have fun, woo, drive your car really fast.
I mean, that's what it looks like.
It sounds like it was that.
It looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like that's exactly what. To me, it sounds like that's exactly what was going on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't see him being parent.
Sorry.
Who smokes weed all the time, who makes her own rules, and lives with her boyfriend. How much of that is true? How much? She
stayed with her boyfriend. It was. They were talking about moving in, and she was getting close to 18. And if I would have hammered her and locked her into her room, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Chain her to the bed? I mean, that's okay. All I can do is teach her how to survive and live. You know, and she knew if there's a problem, who to call. You know, she talked to my wife all the time. If these two kids were going to break up and there was a problem, my wife would already know. We would have known it. Okay. I would have been very happy about it if they broke up. Okay. No boy would ever be good enough for my daughter. That's a father, you know. But again, he did treat her very well. You know, I didn't see much of the fight. I didn't see the stupid little fights or the arguments or I didn't see it.
One other thing that came out I've been trying to catch up on social media about what people are saying about this. There's one other weird thing that came up that I was hoping that you could explain a little bit. I guess at one point, Kenzie and her mother are caught on tape talking in like what people are calling a different language or like Carney speak.
It's Carney. It's gypsy speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that something they would do?
It's a family thing. It's a family thing that my wife grew up with.
Can you speak it?
No,
okay.
it's because they do it so fast. It's
I know how it works now.
To say
you add an extra syllable in with
the is easy. Yeah. I think I'm going to say that right. It's like a pig Latin. You're adding vowels or you're splitting the word with, and it's something the families. My wife's family has done for years. It's nothing. It's like when the gypsies and the carnivals would come around, and they didn't want the locals to hear what they were saying. That's what they would speak.
Yeah.
So my daughter and wife talk that way. And when they don't want to have someone hear what they're talking about, that's what they talk about. It's like having a German person or Japanese out here in America start talking Japanese because they don't. It's a private thing. Mm-hmm. So that's what the speech. It's called Carney.
How old was Kenzie when she learned how to do
she was pretty young. I've never heard anyone say it. And mind you, I'm sorry, I'm smiling. I'm smiling because it's a good memory for me. Sure. My wife and my daughters. It's like bees. And during this process, we knew when my daughter was in the juvenile center or over in county, she didn't want people around hearing what we were talking about because there's big ears everywhere, and then someone's going to say something, and we didn't want to give away what we were possibly doing in court or how we were going to try to defend her. So we were trying to be careful what anybody else overheard or who was overhearing her, or I say we, but they were. It's a language they speak together. It's like twins speaking a weird language. It was not to hide anything nefarious. There's big talk about something she said in the hospital, and if you know the language, she didn't say it.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing.
Yeah, I think they're trying to
say she was saying, I was seizing her, and that didn't happen. There's no Sizu, there's no word in that whole conversation about that. Plus my daughter was just that was the day of or the day after, and she was on all kind of pain medication. She broke her femur, she broke her fibula. I think it's the fibula, right? Yeah. She broke the fibula, detached tricep, 3 broken ribs, a puncture wound through her knee, lacerated liver, lacerated kidney, bumps and bruises all over her face. Both her carotid arteries were damaged. I mean, the kid's lucky to be alive. So she was on, she didn't really know what she was saying. She had just found out what happened with Dom and Davion, because we didn't tell her at first. She was in so much pain, and we just didn't want to add to that. So
it strikes me too as like every time I think about this, it's a really stupid way to commit suicide if that's what you're in.
God, my God, she was not committing suicide. There's absolutely no base, no evidence, no manifesto, no note, no video, nothing. There's not one iota of evidence.
What do you think happened?
God, okay, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know. I know the car crashed. I know Davion and Dominic lost their lives. I know my daughter was lucky to be alive. I know she went through I believe she was falsely accused. The charges she was accused of, I'm not completely getting away. She's not completely innocent. She was driving a car, and it should have never left the juvenile court, and it should have been vehicular homicide or reckless vehicular homicide. And I don't think you could even prove reckless with what evidence is not available to the prosecutor. But I don't know. I think it was. I would, if I had to give my guess, I think it's a bunch of things. I think it's a perfect storm. I'm pretty good. She was probably coming down there 60, 70 miles an hour. Okay. One theory is something happened to the car. Toyota has a history with that kind of car. It's documented. It's on the internet. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to ever prove it. The black box isn't on. It's not recording any of that because the black box turned on down the road. If something happened to the car and the gas pedal stuck and accelerated, all would be in that car is panic. And then if that car came around that little bend, and it's not a severe bend, it's a manageable bend, and it hit that dip that used to be in the road that the city fixed last year or last summer, that car went flying, and that's what turned on. That's what the black box said. The car went right to left. The car thought it was flipping over. The black box turned on. The side airbags went off. Yeah. I mean, and again, the black box is nonlinear. It's not a linear recording. It doesn't go on. It's not a con.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you posed it there, because I mean that's, yeah.
Did he say they were only going 60 miles per hour?
So I think that's what I heard. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you saw my face when I heard that, because I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand where he's getting the majority of the information that he just puts out as fact.
I think he makes it up as he goes along.
A little bit before that, I also wanted to just mention.
Are you frozen?
Sorry, did I?
You froze.
Did that happen again?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think you're okay now.
Okay. Okay. So when he said earlier that Dom treated her really well, I just found that bizarre that he would even say that, because it's in the exact same interview that he was talking about all of these things, that these alarming things that he's saying he did to her. And I just don't understand. Like, he can't even keep it straight. I like how someone in chat said that this family is wild, because it's like he can't even keep one narrative consistently through an interview. It's really bad. It's really concerning.
She's not reckless either. That blew my mind when he said that.
Yeah,
It was not reckless driving. It was reckless driving. Like, what else do you call that?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, then later on he says, "Well, she's not, completely innocent. She was driving, and it shouldn't have left juvenile court." So he's saying like there's some culpability, but it's the same interview where he was like, "She's not reckless." So then, how did any of this happen, right?
Yeah. Now, I do want to say there was a behavior therapist in juvie court that evaluated her and said that it was not self-unaliving. She had no tendencies.
Yeah.
So it makes you...
Sorry, carry on.
That was it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't get that impression from her either. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, then how did she manage to accomplish all of this? But I don't know. I feel like she is almost too self-absorbed to want to do that. But then at the same time, I can also understand that argument of, if I can't have you, no one else will. So that's something that I'm kind of on the fence on, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I know you've mentioned twice, you mentioned yesterday as well that she was evaluated and that wasn't the finding. So do you think that she was inclined that way, or no?
No, I find it hard that someone that selfish and the need for attention, I don't think she would have hurt herself permanently, because she was living a life online that I think was too important to her to give that up. I think she wanted to hurt Dom, maybe eliminate him because he wasn't doing what she wanted him to do. But I don't see her unaliving herself. I think she needs too much attention. She wouldn't give that up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so we said we're going to rewind a little bit and just hear that again, because we were both a little taken aback by what he said there.
But I don't know. I think it was. I would, if I had to give my guess, I think it's a bunch of things. I think it's a perfect storm. I'm pretty good. She was probably coming down there 60, 70 miles an hour. Okay. One theory is something happened to the car. Toyota has a history with that kind of car. It's documented. It's on the internet. I don't know. I don't know how would ever prove it. The black box isn't on. It's not recording any of that because the black box turned on down the road. If something happened to the car and the gas pedal stuck and accelerated, all would be in that car is panic. And then if that car came around that little bend, and it's not a severe bend, it's a manageable bend, and it hit that dip that used to be on the road that the city fixed last year or last summer, that car went flying, and that's what turned on. That's what the black box said. The car went right to left. The car thought it was flipping over. The black box turned on. The side airbags went off. I mean, and again, the black box is non-linear. It's not a linear recording. It doesn't go on, it's not a constant, like every micro. Yeah, in a non-linear thing, it's going half second, half second, half second, half second, or microsecond, whatever the timing is. And our car guy said, you can't necessarily say she'd never braked, because it could have happened in between, and mind you, I'm not saying that because there's no proof to that. Why would I? But it could have happened.
Everybody else is saying a lot of things where there's no proof.
Yeah, well, sorry. Yeah, especially the prosecutor, and there's more to that if we can get to it eventually. But at the end of that video, the brake lights go on, and their car expert said, "Well, that's a safety feature."
Yeah.
Well, why didn't the brakes go on?
Aren't brakes a safety feature by design?
I think so, but what I'm saying is, the brake, you could see the brakes clearly
on the video.
On the video, you clearly see him, and his response, "Well, that's a safety feature." Well, why didn't the safety feature work prior?
Yeah.
It hadn't hit anything. It just went across the road. That was right as it went across the road. So why is the safety feature only working right there? So
why do you think they went so hard against her?
Man, well, there's the part where maybe I'll get myself in trouble. I think there's some collusion going on. I think it's a fix. I think it's a favor. That last name Russo in this town.
It's like, I was trying to explain that to somebody. Having the last name Russo in Cuyahoga County is like having the last name Kennedy in Boston.
Mm-hmm. There might be some truth to that. Like I said, this is a political family, and I apologize to the Flanagan family right now. If it was just Davion in the car, she wouldn't be in jail. She would have.
Wow.
What?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't even know where to start with that, but that was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen in the interviews that have come out with the sisters, she said she doesn't understand where this is coming from. They are not a political family. I don't know what's true and what's not true. Regardless of whether they're a political family or not, what he's trying to actually insinuate here is hectic. And what he just said about, like, and then to just precursor with well, no offense, that is, there's no other way to take that. Like, he just diminished an entire person so that he can insult another family who are suffering the most unimaginable losses. What are your thoughts on that?
Does he have a filter at all before he speaks? Because the things he says, it shocks me that he doesn't think about the things that he says, because he's making, in my opinion, Mackenzie just look even more guilty. He's not helping her case. And it's just a lot of trying to explain away why are we so obsessed with her? She's done nothing wrong. And to me, I think he comes across like he's very entertained that we are all looking into this and what his daughter did in the family. It's very entertaining to him. That's my impression I get from him.
Yeah, it's like, to a certain extent, and for anyone who has listened to the calls, there is an element to this that they, as a family, are really enjoying. Like, they feel special in this regard. And I mean, ethically, that's one thing, but I agree with you in the sense of like how it's like every time they try and fix the situation, they make it so much worse, and they just can't hide what they're doing and what they're trying to do right now, because they're giddy about it, and it's frankly, it's disgusting. I mean, yeah, it's like an attack on the whole family with a disregard for the other victim.
Yeah.
I was shocked about that part. I knew it. I was told it was coming, but wow.
Yeah.
And I apologize to the Flanagan family right now. If it was just Davion in the car, she wouldn't be in jail. She would have. It would have never left the juvenile court. This has to do with the boy's last name, and the judge saying, "Well, I don't have a blood relationship." Look, I'm not saying she has got a blood relationship. I'm saying she has relationships with the Russo family, and her even saying that in court, just if you're going to believe she doesn't have a relationship, you're fooling yourself.
I just want to mention something real quick. I'm surprised that they haven't used that in an appeal, because if they could prove that in some way, then the judge honestly should have let another judge handle the case. So it makes me wonder if they are going to find some kind of proof where there's a connection between the judge and the family and use that for a mistrial or to have a new trial. Makes me wonder. Yeah, conflict of interest. Thank you, Miss Cosmo. Conflict of interest. Yeah.
And I think that is a possibility, but I also get the impression that when the family sits down to discuss things with the defense team, I can almost imagine like rolls their eyes at the things that the family brings, and they're like, okay, yeah, just let's get through it because we actually know what we're going to use, and some of these things are ridiculous and they make no sense, and that's why they're not actually coming up in proceedings. But the family is talking about them publicly because they're not legally sound, I don't think. So I just find it very hard to trust what he says if he can change his viewpoint in the middle of an interview.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's directly with Christine Russo down the road here, but it's with somebody, and
there are many Russos
yes,
in judicial
positions. In fact, it was
and the prosecutor's office.
Yep, and Christine Russo was part of that prosecutor's office at one point, and I believe she's friends with Tim Troop. I think they were in the office together.
Well, let me jump ahead a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I got to jump in one more time. Isn't it interesting that it cut out right there, almost like he said, "Hey, don't include this that I just said." Sorry.
Which would be interesting for him because I don't think he usually has that level of discretion, right? So it's like he watched it later and it must have been kind of bad. Just saying.
How is what was Kenzie's take on the documentary? How's she doing after this has come out?
She's okay. I thought she was okay with it. She's in Marysville. Okay. She wasn't so okay with the fact that they used when she turned to the lawyer. Her lawyer was there with her when she did this, and she turned to him and wanted to make sure she said what she wanted to say and that she didn't sound like she's just talking gibberish. So she turned to him and they ran with that and let it go. And it just makes her seem like it was planned, performant, and it wasn't. I thought she did well on it. She was beautiful, and I think she was very composed. You can see that she's got a couple years maturity to her now.
Yeah, I did notice that.
It's a rehabilitation. Marysville's more of a rehabilitation than it is a maximum security. You lock the cells, or the prisons you see on TV or in a movie.
Are they able to go outside?
She goes outside. She's got a lot of freedom. Other than being a judge, she's got some freedom. She's got a day and she does stuff. They go outside. She's starting to take classes, college classes. She works in the kitchen. She's got jobs.
What would she, if this hadn't have happened, what would she be doing today?
She was looking at modeling and fashion and stuff like that. And we were with the barber. She was with the barber, and there was a big stink about that.
Yeah.
There was something she was going to something, or something was planned, and it was just them talk. You know, it wasn't us going, "Hey, we're going to do." It wasn't that. God, things are blown so far out of proportion sometimes. It was just something she was involved with prior and during the accident, or during this, during her rehabilitation or whatever. So it's not a colorblind thing. It had nothing to do with remorse. It was about something she was doing already. There was plans, or there was plans, and they were just talking about it. That's all. It wasn't anything nefarious against the boys, or, oh my God, look, she's trying to be a model after all. But she was trying to be a model prior. It was just it was the continuation of what she had already started. So
is there anything else you'd like to clear up that you think?
I can clear every little misconception out, and there'll still be the people on the internet making their own assumptions. I don't know how many podcasts I've watched that all their information, anything, they had the gist of the story. There's a crash, 2 boys died, McKinsey. Okay. But all their facts are wrong. I hear, well, she was doing this and she was doing that. I mean, there's just, unless you really delve into it and look at the transcripts and look, and you're not going to, you can't see. I don't know how people can get on and actually say, well, she did this, and she didn't. She didn't plan it. That morning, the boys woke her up. There was no fighting the whole time they were there. Even the boy whose house he was at, even said somewhat. They weren't fighting. Rosee and Bubba both said they weren't fighting. There was no fighting. It wasn't okay. My understanding is McKinsey had her head on Dom's lap almost all night for when she was sleeping. Okay. The boys got her up. They got in the car. My understanding is there's a grocer, or it was an organic, good food kind of, local honey, good stuff, for you. And my daughter and Dom were eating healthy. So they have lockers outside. So if you buy, say, potatoes, she'll put the potatoes in the locker, give you the number, and then you can come by at any time and pick it up. It was a convenience for the customer. So it makes, now, I don't know if they were going there again for sure, because I don't know. But that would be on the route. That would be the quickest way to, and they had planned on making dinner that night, or going to dinner, or doing something. They were planning her birthday. They were not breaking up. For anyone to say they were breaking up, it is a lie. Yeah. It is.
You're going to show the text. Thank you. Let's just put them back there for a minute. I mean, maybe it's true that they weren't breaking up, but it's that was like, she wanted to break up.
Yeah.
They didn't break up because she just didn't let him, because
she wouldn't let him.
Yeah, there's an intention to do so. Whether it worked is a reflection of her, I think. But yeah. We'll just let those texts, sink in a minute. Wow, this guy.
There's no base. It's a baseless narrative from the prosecution. It's an absolute lie, and they were never going to break up, to my dismay, mind you. I would, every time they did break up, I was happy. I was like, oh, please. Mind you, again, Dom was a gentleman over here, and he was very respectful. He was respectful at any place we went. Okay, so I mean, I don't, but again, I knew
nobody did.
He didn't have a job. He didn't have a job. He had hundreds of dollars on him at all time. We went to dinner, and he pulls out. He fanned out, more money.
You ask him, like, where'd you get that money?
I knew. I know what he was doing. It must have been good. I mean, he's got the whole high school and right next to him. Again, I'm not saying that to slander Dominic.
Yes, you are.
It is. It's just what it is. I don't know. Like I said, the lack of evidence and the lack of evidence that supports the judge's summation. There is none. They threw in at the last minute the cell tower pinged and you were there, so you were checking it out. Right. That's a leap. You're in the city. You're in Strongsville, and a cell tower in Strongsville in an area that you're down all the time picks up your phone, and how do you leap from you're casing this spot out? That's from a judge. That's from a sitting judge of how many years? 15, 20 years or something like that. Yeah. She's been on the bench a long time, and that came out of her mouth. You case this place out. That's no. There's absolutely no. Now, if they had a picture of her doing it, and she's over there looking, and in one of her posts, she goes, "I was checking out the crash site today." Sure. Look, if you can prove to me she did it with intent, then she's right where she belongs.
That's where it comes down for me is proving the intent. And it seems to me that the only way anybody could possibly do that in a situation is to get inside her mind, which we can never do. We can never know. Which is why I think if it had gone to a jury of 12 people,
she would have never.
Of those people,
she would have never got convicted. She'd be free today. She'd be going on with her life. But she'd be free. That's the truth. But to let you know that her lawyer, when asked her about a jury or bench, she asked for a jury, and he talked her out of it.
What's the benefit of a bench trial over?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Yeah. You're gonna have to ask Jim McDonald. I mean, he clearly knows the law better than me. Yeah. I told her to get a jury trial. You're not going to get 12 people that are going to go along with this.
Okay, hold on a second.
What's her best chance of getting out of it?
So wait, I'm trying to keep up with this because if she had a jury, she wouldn't have been convicted, and it was the lawyer's fault. After it was the judge's fault, and then from there, she should have had a jury. She wanted a jury trial, but he doesn't know the benefit of not having one because he's not a lawyer. But he also knows that, being not a lawyer, he also knows that she wouldn't have been convicted without one. Is that like a good summary? What he just said.
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to say. But don't forget that we wouldn't be discussing a trial if the wrong young man hadn't have been unalived. So
right.
Depending on who the person was, depends on whether or not she's even guilty according to her dad, which is horrible. Horrible to say that.
Yeah. Yes.
If it had just been Davion in the car, she never would have been convicted. What does that mean? Davion's not worthy of justice?
I find myself asking, what does that mean through all of this? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't 100% understand him all the time. And I don't know if that's just me or if it's because of how he's so all over the place. Like the mom said in the impact statement, you know what? With them, it's going to be like a accusation salad. Like it's just going to be a little bit of everything that they're going to try and just throw in there. I'm appalled, and I don't usually say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
We're at the state level. We knew the Cuyahoga County was going to be, she was not going to get any relief from. That's just how Cuyahoga County is, and we've talked about that a little bit.
You kind of have to be from Cuyahoga County to
really understand. So we knew Cuyahoga County was going to was going to railroad us, or or what do you call roadblock us at every pass, and they did. Them changing the coroner's report from accidental to homicide was done illegally. They needed to go through a court hearing to have it done, and they didn't. The appellate court called them on it, and all they did was smack their hand. If this had been any other trial, they'd be back at trial. That'd be a mistrial, or that would be a reason to go back to trial. But not in Cuyahoga County, because Nancy Margaret Russo is blah blah blah. We're still fighting the late.
I just wanted to add real quick again, they cut out another chunk.
I saw that, and it was right after blah blah blah. And then what did that turn into? This is insane.
And there's a reason that she has a well-known name there. It's because she's good at her job. That's why. Anybody can look up Ohio and trust me, when she's going to be eligible for parole in Ohio, you don't get it that quick. They do their job, and they do it very well, and that's why she's got the name that she does.
Well served, yeah.
Right. So I'm sure he said a lot of stuff he knew he was going to get sued over, and yeah, cut that out too. You notice though that the cutouts are when he starts to talk shit about a particular individual.
Yeah. He's transparent. This is so upsetting.
Oh yeah, you were a day late.
A day late. My lawyer, or we had a public defender at first, and we talked to him for like a minute, and he ordered the transcripts from the trial, because that's what you need, and the transcripts from the bind-over. There's two different trials. One's at the juvenile level, one's the trial.
Yeah.
Well, when the new lawyers, Eric Nemechek, got a hold of it, all he had was the trial. So he put in for the bind-over stuff. And the bind-over stuff came a month later. So he thought he had a little more time.
Yeah.
And it was a leap year. It's almost like, again, another perfect storm. But
and who was the person to rule that it was a day late?
when they put the brief into, because it goes back to Nancy.
Yeah. Right. That's what I thought it was.
Isn't that crazy? It goes back to the judge who's already biased.
Yeah.
Okay, she's already biased. She's biased herself, and if anyone can't see that,
she doesn't want to overrule herself.
She's not going to overrule herself. I mean, that ego must. I don't know how she walks in and out of the room with that kind of an ego. It's unfortunate that a sitting judge of that long ruled that way and acted that way. Maybe it makes sense why she didn't get reelected, or on the new seat she wanted. Maybe it makes sense why the Democratic Party didn't endorse her. We've heard that there's some investigation going on about her. Who knows? But a sitting judge that long on the bench can't decipher between fact and speculation. She's either incompetent, dirty, or both. Sorry. But the things I really want to touch on, the prosecutor. Let's talk about Tim Troop. Tim Troop in the documentary. You hear him. He's on camera saying, well, we looked at everything. We turned everything over, and we looked at everything. So it's this.
Yeah.
What do you mean you looked at everything? What exactly did you look at? How do you go from, well, we looked at all this, so if it was none of this, it has to be this.
Yeah.
That's a jump.
You have an expert there saying that the slipper might not have caused the accelerator to stick, but that's one guy's opinion.
That slipper. I didn't even talk about the slipper.
If I see that at an accident scene where you've got the black box data showing that the accelerator was
pushed all the way to the floor,
and then there's a slipper stuck,
yeah. Well,
come on.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably, what do you call it? Without a shadow of a doubt, it's a doubt. It's a plausible, realistic doubt that judge should.
It's not in doubt, right? I mean, they did an investigation into how that slipper would have impacted things, and I mean, there was a concrete finding on it. I also find it ridiculous that, like, with all the things that he's going through, it's like the accusation salad. He needs to like decide on something, because it can't be a medical condition and, you know, a slipper, and she was millisecond breaking, like CJ said. I mean, I'm not getting any kind of thread of consistent thinking here. I'm not trying to insult him. I'm not, but I do find it interesting, and I don't know if it's intentional. I'm thinking it might be that he's so all over the place that you can't keep up, and you don't know how to even like tackle some of the things he's saying. I feel like that's kind of a tactic of his, where he's just overwhelming you with misinformation.
Right.
Honestly,
you stay confused. You don't know what's up and what's down. I feel that's a tactic he uses. He probably uses that a lot in his life.
Yeah, because it just leaves the person he's talking to like
confused. Yeah. You said a lot of stuff, but you really said nothing at all.
Nothing, and contradicting himself so much.
Should have took into consideration. Then again, our lawyer should have done, her lawyer, and I'm going to call my lawyer. I would never have that guy as my lawyer. Yeah, that's hindsight, by the way. But if he would have fought for her and brought some of this stuff up, I mean, now in his defense, I'll go this way. He saw that there was nothing. They didn't have anything. And I think maybe that's what he's doing, because it's the burden of proof is on the prosecution. So he doesn't really have to say anything. You have to prove it. And I don't think, and I don't believe, and if you listen to that prosecutor did not prove intent. But Tim Troop in the documentary says, I looked at everything and I couldn't figure it out. So it has to be this. It's almost like the wife dies in an accident in the house and they look at everything, but it's the husband. It's a jump. It's a lazy jump.
It is a lazy.
In the detective, I don't know how that guy has his job. I don't know how he became a detective. That's my opinion. This is a lazy dude. He was in the bind over. He was on the stand, and the only time Mackenzie's lawyer was doing anything for her was when he was cross-examining him. And at some point, he goes to the detective and goes, "What do you think happened?" And he stammers, "I don't know." And I wasn't in there because I was supposed to be a witness. Me and Jim argued back and forth because I didn't like how Jim was talking and saying and doing stuff. So he kept me out of the room, so I didn't upset the cart, I guess. But if I'd have been in there, I would have shouted. Our lawyer should have turned to the judge, who's an O'Malley, who I think is a sister or a brother or a cousin to Mike O'Malley. And should have turned to that judge and said, "Motion to dismiss." How does the guy who's finding all this evidence, all this massive evidence, not speculation, evidence, not I think she did it. Oh, we believe she did it. Oh, I feel she did it. It's evidence. I don't know why he didn't turn to that judge and go, how does this guy who knows all this, who's the keeper of all the evidence, not know? So if this guy doesn't know,
that guy has doubt.
If this guy, the guy who's looking at it, doesn't know, if he doesn't know, how do you even charge somebody with any kind of thing? You don't know. You're guessing. You're making a guess. You watched CSI last night, and you're making a call off of watching CSI a couple episodes.
Yeah.
This guy's he's dangerous. This is a dangerous detective out of Strongsville. He's dangerous. Anybody, you get pulled over now in Strongsville speeding, it's attempted murder. That's the precedent they've set with this case.
How long do you think she'll be in jail?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are you preparing for a long haul? Are you very hopeful?
I'm hopeful somebody with some common sense and can look at everything. I mean, not the minutia, not the screaming people online, but look at the evidence. This A, B, C, D, whatever, and look and subjectively look at what was presented, and look and say, look, okay, you got some black box information. The car was going fast. You can't explain the car. You can't explain the speed. The video clearly shows the brakes going on, no matter what the expert says. It's funny that it broke there and it didn't break there, or there. So if that's a safety feature for a car, I've been 100 in a car. I don't remember my car braking for me when I was going over 100. You know, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is. You know, so I don't get it. And she didn't drive directly into that building. She drove into mind you, it's apples to oranges here. You know, she hit that sign first, and that sign veered her into that building. You know, what would happen if she kept going straight? You know, I don't know. They'd be all dead. I don't. Who knows? I don't know. I know my daughter didn't do it on purpose. I know when my daughter lies.
I do have to pause it real quick and show you guys this. If she would have went straight, she still would have hit the building. I just wanted to mention that real quick.
Yeah. What is he talking about? The break? Apparently she did break before.
Well, I think he's saying that even though there's no, so I think he's trying to say that even though there's no evidence that she tried to break, there's also no evidence that she didn't try to, which I think is incorrect, because earlier on he was putting it at those like minuscule time periods between the data that was looked at, if I'm explaining that okay. But yeah, look, I really do like this comment as well. I don't get it either. Obviously he did prove intent, or there wouldn't have been a conviction. And further, like beyond that, there has been an appeal that just didn't, you know, the conviction was upheld as well. So it's not exactly like this has been looked at again, at least once, 2 times, right? So, I mean, if it was looked at and then decided, okay, yeah, there was definitely something strange going on here, and everything that he's coming up with is true about slippers and judges and all of that, it doesn't matter because it was still upheld. I think about all of the things that have to be in place for it to go the way he's trying to insinuate that it did. Like there has to be a problem with the judge, the detective, the prosecutor, the families, everything except him and his family and his daughter.
Yeah. That was pretty funny that the judge, he claims the judge is dirty and biased because his daughter was found guilty. Like,
yeah, that's the test for biasness. What did they think?
Poor me, poor Mackenzie. No one likes us. Everyone's mean to us.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was part of the documentary too. I gave a story where something happened at the school and blah blah blah. But I know when my daughter lies, it's my daughter. There's a twinkle in her eye. There's something I can tell when she's not being honest with me. She doesn't look at me. You know, it's it's my daughter. You know, and if that makes me a bad parent. You know, I'm not a bad parent. I did my best with my daughters. I try to teach them rather than punish them. This world's crazy, you know, and there's some crazy stuff that goes on. There's some crazy people in this world. So I was doing my best to teach her, and I picked my battles that I felt happened. How was I ever going to stop her from smoking marijuana? My daughter should have been charged with vehicular homicide, 2 counts in juvie court, and it should have never left. The juvenile judge took out the aggravated murder thing for the same reason I'm saying they should have never charged her because there's no intent, there's no prior calculation, there's no purpose. It's not there. And again, Tim Troop can get up there and, you know, and dum dum dum, Tim Troop, you know, she did this and I feel this. It's not evidence. He can feel all he wants. It's not evidence. And I think he did it's a complete injustice to my daughter, and this has nothing to do with the boys. It's again tragic that those boys died, and she has some responsibility into it. But what that is,
when it comes to the double standard in a lot of what he says, I think that you can highlight that easily with things like, you know, he can come, whoever he's talking about, I forgot already, he can come in here and say this and this and it's not evidence. But similarly, it's not evidence to say, I know my daughter, she has a twinkle in her eye when she lies. So double standard all the way. That's not evidence. Nothing that he said has any evidential value, especially just saying, I know my daughter, because saying things like, I tried to teach her and not punish her, that is, the consequence of that is that now the judicial system has to punish her. And maybe it wouldn't have happened if he had. Like, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Nobody is ever going to know, and because nobody was in that car, and there's no evidence, and there's no story, there's no paper, there's no note, there's no video. My daughter and the remorse, that's another thing that's huge. I sat with my daughter for 3 months in that room right there. 3 months. Watching her watch every video, every song, every picture about that boy. There was a shrine to him in that room. Shrine. Cried herself to sleep every night. I know the trolls are going, good, she should cry herself to sleep. Ugh. She has remorse. Yeah. She was upset. If you would have heard her when she found out that Dom died, if you would have heard the sound that came out of her, it would have crushed you. She was 17. She's a dumb kid. She wasn't breaking up. She didn't do it on purpose. And I've asked her, did you do this on purpose? And she's going, no. And I would think if my daughter was that mad at that boy, to want to kill him that way, Davion would have never been in the car.
Right.
That makes no sense. If she was going to do that to Dom, there were guns all over that kid's house. Okay.
Where'd the guns come from?
He bought them. I don't know. The reason I know he has guns because something was going on over there, and he took all the guns and threw them in my daughter's trunk. And I went into my daughter's trunk to get something, and in the trunk there was 10, 15 guns. Half of them were loaded. I had to.
Oh my God.
So that's how I know he has guns.
And he's saying this so casually, like I'll just throw that in there. I don't think it's true. I really don't.
Yeah. My daughter would not have unalived him by her vehicle. She would have done it with a pew pew. I mean, who says that? You know?
Right.
Did you catch that? If she was going to do this, she had access to all of this, and this is how she would have done it.
Yes. So she has access to all of it, but it's also not her fault. It's the victim's fault again. And yeah.
Right.
This is, yeah. I actually do,
Okay.
I kind of understand why the defense team, like, not why, but like I kind of feel like they were probably having quite a hard time with the family as well. And that's probably why the family is lashing out at them, because they feel like they weren't listened to. But it was probably just too absurd for the defense team to entertain some of the things that they wanted included in this defense. But it's ridiculous.
If she was going to kill him,
Yeah, that's.
that would make more sense to me. But
and you don't involve an innocent.
so that makes no sense there. Something happened in that car. No one's ever going to know. She's innocent of the charges they put upon her. Again, should have been juvenile, vehicular homicide, 2 counts, and we would have went from there. She probably have done some jail time.
Right. Probably be out by now.
Be out by now, or have been whatever.
How do you keep in contact, or
We can see her twice a month. We visit. It's about a 3 or 3.5 hour visit. but again, it's only twice. My wife is able to talk to her pretty much every day. Again, sorry to the people out there. It's our daughter. I love my daughter. I'm never going to stop fighting for her. Yeah. I believe she was falsely charged. Well, no one's ever going to be able to convince me unless you can put the evidence in front of me.
Would you ever do another
documentary? You're probably close to. I'm going to get to being a documentary. I'm upset. I'm very disappointed in what they put out there.
Did you say anything?
Yes, we talked to them last week, and I blew my lid on them. You know, yeah. They did us dirty. I don't think they were very honest with us. I think they tried.
What did they say in defense?
Well, they were saying, we were trying to be, unbiased and give both sides, and I don't really think they gave my daughters a fair shake at both sides. I think they sensationalized, especially with the comment about talking about my daughter, knowing my daughter's lying thing. Yeah, it had nothing to do with why she's in jail. So.
Are you looking for a job?
I don't know if I have a job yet. I'm guessing that I'm not going to. My contract's up in June, so I would hope that they'll pay me through June. They're doing some sort of investigation. I don't know how much more investigating they have to do. I know
Is this a direct result of the documentary?
I believe it's a documentary. Yes, I believe it's from it. Clearly, a bunch of crazies from Parma calling into the diocese is more factual to them than talking to me. This could have been over in a conversation. Did you say it? I'm like, you heard me say it. Well, what did you mean by that? I go, well, we were talking. I didn't care. I don't care I don't care. It's none of my business.
I want to jump in real quick and say that it was actual students that called the complaints to the school system about him teaching. So actual students, not a bunch of people from outside the city. It was actual students of his that complained to the school after the doc came out, and that's where it started. So I just wanted to mention that to make sure that there's factual information being put out there when it came to where the complaints initially started.
Thank you.
Business, what anybody does. I didn't care that my daughter smoked marijuana. I'm sorry.
Right.
That has nothing to do with my judgment. That has nothing
also,
to.
Marijuana is now legal.
And it has nothing to do with my art teaching. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with my kids. I don't walk into my room and go, okay, today we're going to paint a painting, and you should all do marijuana. I'm not doing that. That's got to be the biggest knee-jerk overreaction that you could ever imagine. I don't know why the school's not backing me up. That's to me, that's not very Catholic. Where's the compassion, the love, the understanding that they put out to everybody? They want you to be that way, but when it comes to them, what if I was a priest?
Yeah.
If I was a priest, I'd be in another. They'd move me to another.
So you can
continue on. Okay. So mind you,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry the diocese acted that way. It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. It's disappointing how the documentary handled this. I think they gave the families a preview. Mm-hmm. They didn't offer us, which shouts loud now that they didn't want us to see it.
That would have been really
because my understanding is that the Russos didn't like a part, so they had them take it out. So they had some control of the editing, which to me is it's unfortunate. This whole thing is unfortunate, and I believe my daughter has no idea what happened. She was so beat up. She had bruises all over her face. Those airbags going off. I don't know if you've ever seen an airbag deployment online. I watched a guy with a helmet get knocked out. It hit him so hard, it knocked him out, and that could have ended why the arteries were, So I don't know. I love my daughter, and I'm never going to stop. And I will go to my deathbed, knowing she did not do what the prosecution and this possibly incompetent on the take judge did to her.
All right, that's the interview. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was illuminating. I hope maybe it changed some minds about what you think happened to the case, which is very rare. And I shouldn't bet on it, but hopefully you found it interesting. I will be back tomorrow, actually, I think, with a new episode of True Crime This Week, which comes out every Friday morning, anywhere you get your podcasts. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so
What
sorry.
if he
to
was
laugh.
a priest? What if he was a priest, Rosie? I'm sorry. That one got me. That one got me.
It got me from the moment where he was like, I just don't know why the school's not defending me. And I was like, oh, you
Not very
you
Christian.
hadn't thought about it?
Yeah. Are you this
Oh my
delusional?
And
Wow.
yeah, okay. I mean, I know that was supposed to be funny, but it just was.
Right. Yeah. I shouldn't find this that funny, but like I said, he has no filter. It just stuff comes out and he has no idea how he's coming across. And you can't admit to it being okay with your child doing drugs, giving your child drugs, offering to go help them when the party doesn't go very well, and then wonder why a religious private school just doesn't want you around their children. I mean, to me, that's common sense. There's just some jobs you don't publicly yell to the world, hey, it's okay to do drugs. I allow my 15-year-old daughter to do drugs. What do you mean that you have a problem with that? I think most people have a problem with that.
Most people do. And also, I mean, I think that he's just incredibly desperate to defend himself in this. So he wants to make it really clear that nothing he's ever done contributed to this outcome.
Yeah.
Like, he tried his best as a parent. I mean, that wasn't.
Yeah, he tried his best to teach her. What is he teaching her? So,
I don't know. I kind of almost wish that the interviewer had asked that. Like, how did this? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And there were some really alarming comments, like the one that CJ is highlighting here about, seeing those weapons and not calling the police. Some of the things that he's claiming that Dom did to her, and he's all like, he's outraged at some of the most ridiculous stuff, but none of that was a problem. And he claims to have loved his daughter, but like, how is that reconciling with not calling the police in those kinds of situations?
Yeah, I wonder how true that was, that she had a trunk full of loaded weapons. That shocked me, that he wasn't more flipped out about that.
Yeah.
If my teenage daughter was with an older man that was storing that in her vehicle, I mean, she's driving around with loaded weapons and drugs in her car, and cash, tons and tons of cash. That was a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how anybody would be okay with that had it been true. Like, anybody would be okay with their daughter being involved in that. But I think that he's looking for more ways to disparage the victims. Like, he's got one victim that he's disparaging, and he's got another one that he's completely discounting as having any value whatsoever.
Yeah.
I found that interview appalling. I'm gonna ask what you thought about, like, overall, like, in general, but the word that I'm just gonna use for it is, it's appalling. I didn't actually think that my opinion could get worse. But yeah,
the more he speaks, the worse he looks, and the worse his daughter looks. I feel the same way. To me, another word that comes to mind is just disgusting. He's just disgusting the way he talks about people, and that's what he taught Mackenzie was devalue everyone around you. And
Yeah.
I feel sorry for her because, you know, she may have had a chance. You know, she was pretty a go-getter. You know, she wasn't afraid to put herself out there. She may have had a great modeling career, but not now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no chance of that now. I think like obviously she's always gonna be associated with and tainted by this. And I think that there's nothing she could have done to mend what happened, the outcome, anything like that. But I think that to like own up to what happened and just try and be sorry, that would have made all the difference to the families who are having to witness. I mean, it's very disrespectful to the memories of their loved ones to have to go through this on top of the loss. I can't imagine what that must be like.
No. And, you know, she's doing things in prison now that are going to be on the internet forever. And that's going to come up when she wants out. And they pull up, you know, well, you've been on OnlyFans, you've got all kinds of inappropriate stuff going on. You know, I mean, she doesn't even have value in herself. She's just selling herself. And that's sad. I think who she is as a person is just going to keep declining and getting worse, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but I think I definitely agree with you. I think that's a really good way to put it. And I mean, that's quite a lot of what I've gathered from what people in chat say as well. And I guess that's part of why this case has such attention at the moment, because that's been like a question. Oh yeah, and yeah, her disciplinary record. Let's quickly look at that before we move on. So this is about her disciplinary record while at Ohio Reformatory. So as of September of 2024, staff found 29 bottles of paint, craft supplies, charm to make jewelry, large stacks of Monopoly money, IOU notes, and presses for bracelets and earrings. I'm assuming that's against the rules. October 2024, conduct report states a random bed search that was made where staff found altered state pants, a fan that was taken from another inmate, 4 nude magazine photos. Shirilla pleaded guilty in this case. January 2025, conduct report. Officials wrote that a random search uncovered medication not prescribed to Shirilla and personal photo that contained substance use in it. Okay. April 2025, the records also document visitation violations. Shirilla had over 100 video visits with a person who was not an approved visitor using another name. Shirilla pleaded guilty and was put on a 30-day electronics restriction. I think it should have been longer, but September 2025, conduct report describes sexually explicit behavior during video visits. She exposed her breast to a video call visitor, and the visitor displayed, I don't even know if I can say that, on camera, and later appeared completely undressed. Okay, this is what we heard about before, but it sounds even worse now. Shirilla pleaded guilty and was put on a 60-day, again, should have been longer, video visiting restriction. There was a total of 7 visits between Shirilla and this caller. To sum up, Shirilla is not doing anything different in there than she did out here. Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
That.
You're welcome. Thank you so much to everyone who
Sometimes
has
there's
watched.
just no word.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. No. I agree with you. Sometimes it's just like, it takes a while. Like it'll hit you later where you're like, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah,
I'm
it takes a
surprised-
minute to comprehend the things that they say.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't more of this. Like, I gather that neither side is happy with the Netflix documentary, which is probably a good sign.
No.
Like, if neither side is happy, then they probably balanced it out kind of well. I still haven't thought about which way I feel like it's biased towards, but both sides of this are very unhappy. They're both like, no, this was completely unfair, completely biased. So, again, like I'm saying, I think that's a good thing. There's a lot that we're seeing that they didn't put in there that I'm surprised they didn't. Like, I'm surprised that wasn't mentioned. I think that shows that they were actually being quite lenient to her. I don't know if you agree.
I did feel that the Netflix documentary was geared more towards Shirilla's innocence, her proclaimed innocence. I didn't feel it was very fair to the Russo family. But also Netflix, they're an entertainment industry. That's what they're there for. So, am I gonna like the documentary or the movie and agree with everything they put into it? Most likely no. There's going to be stuff left out. And then I also wonder if maybe for legal reasons they couldn't lean towards one opinion or the other. They couldn't let someone look more guilty than someone else because it was entertainment. But I don't know. I didn't think it was fair to the Russo family. And I think for him to be upset that they wanted certain things taken out, apparently it was just very derogatory stuff that they wanted taken out. And I agree with that. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem because when I heard that was a problem for me, where he's holding himself and his family in the same regard as the real victims. Like, no matter what happened, whether there was or wasn't intent, whether she did or didn't mean it, whether she did or didn't, like, whatever happens, she's not the one who passed away. The other two people are the ones who passed away, and their families are the victims. Whether he wants to insinuate that she's a victim of something else, like the whole world being against her, that's a separate issue. But the way that Netflix should conduct themselves is to have respect for the victims that they are using to make this entertainment out of. So for him to be upset by that, I think is really, really in poor taste.
Yeah. Well, they've had plenty of time to say what they want to say about everyone involved. I think they really just should be quiet at this point. It's just hurting more than it's helping. And he doesn't, I mean, for a father to come on and do an interview complaining that he lost his job because he promoted underage drug use, I mean, I don't feel sorry for him at all. He's not smart.
No, and I don't think he is. I'm sorry to say that. I think that when it comes to him trying to speak publicly about this, it's like, when you try and clean something up and you just spread it, like you spread the stain. It's like that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he doesn't like.
It'll be
people
interesting
messing
to
around
see
with
what happens. Yeah.
Very. Yes. Yes. All right. Well, I see everyone in chat is mostly in agreement. I just want to quickly go through a few things. Why is my StreamYard? My StreamYard is highlighting the whole of chat. I don't know if that's. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Rita. Thank you for saying that. Netflix is entertainment. Yeah, that was the one I wanted to get at quickly. So Ms. Cosmos said Netflix is entertainment, but I think they should present factual info and be unbiased. And I think that's kind of where they might differ. I think what you were saying is they might differ from like the news, like the way that they put things. It's more important for them to keep people watching, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be much more of like scandal.
I think they're going to lean more towards the drama of the story than the actual facts of the story.
Yes. I was just about to highlight that. That's going to be the last question for the show. So what do you think about, what is your impression of StreamYard and the bugs in StreamYard now being behind the scenes of the show? It's been going great. It's been going great. I don't know. I really am sorry that that there's been so many technical issues. I really do.
Oh, it doesn't
apologize
bother
and
me.
thank you so much. Good.
You know,
That's
the
very
more
good.
technology you have, the more problems you have. That's just Murphy's Law, so it's fine.
Disaster. But thank you so much for everyone who's been watching, and it was really, really great to have you over. I really appreciate your insight on this
thank
case.
you.
Like I love how you just know everything. So thank you once again. And
I'm very thankful you
also,
guys invited me up here. Thank you.
Of course. Yes, we will definitely have you back. I'm going to end the show there, and also feel better soon, CJ. Hopefully you'll be back on the next one. And thank you everyone for being with us today, continuing on our Shirilla rabbit hole. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.